Will the Committee on Collective Bargaining please come to order? It seems as we do have public comment here today. We have 6 members of the public who've requested to speak. And I would like to call you all up individually, and thank you so much for coming out today to share your comments and your thoughts with the members of the board this morning. You'll have 3 minutes, as I said, to speak, and you'll hear a little bing at the ending of your time. And I don't want to cut you off, so if you could, when you hear that buzzer, to ensure that other members of the public who have signed up have the opportunity to speak with their due time, can you please wrap up your comments? I'm going to call the first 3. Rocky Sanchez, VP for Representation from SEIU. Good morning, Rocky, and you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Board of Trustees, campus presidents, brothers and sisters. I'm Rocky Sanchez from CSUEU, Vice President for Representation, and I wanted to hope that you all adopt the proposals for Unit 13 and Unit 14, that is the English language programs for their contracts. So I'm in support of that. I am a little bit worried about Unit 13 for what is going on at Cal State LA. But I hope you do vote because I am in support of those contracts. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Our next speaker, Rich McGee, followed by Sergio Roldan. And if I've mispronounced your name, please correct me for the record.
Good morning, Rich McGee, Bargaining Unit 9. Increasingly, we are negotiating contracts, meet and confers, side letters, etc. at 24 different work sites. Please, under synergy, centralize these things. You have the power to make a single statewide agreement that we all can live with, we all can follow, and we all can understand. Diluting everyone's time, effort, and knowledge by 24 separate articles, 24 separate agreements serves no one's best interest. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker, Sergio Rodman, and please, I think I'm pronouncing your last name incorrectly.
Roldan.
Roldan, thank you.
Good morning, Board of Trustees. My name is Sergio Roldan, Chair for Bargaining Unit 5. I want to bring attention to a significant problem at CSU campuses, one to which the Chancellor's Office is contributing. The problem is permitting rank and file employees to supervise other bargaining unit members. Article 2, Section 2.2 of our MOU reads as follows. The term appropriate administrator as used in this agreement refers to the immediate non-bargaining unit supervisor or manager to whom the employee is normally accountable or who has been designated by the president. Despite the fact that this language is clear as is HERA's definition of a supervisor, the Chancellor's Office is insisting that a bargaining member can serve as appropriate administrator or supervisor. On behalf of 16,000 members, we ask that you respect the language and intent of our collective bargaining agreement and of HERA's. I am with a question. What message are you sending to students and others when you are in contravention of the law and in manner inconsistent with the tenets of integrity? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Tessie Reese, Chair, Bargaining Unit 2, CSEU.
Good morning, Tessie Reese, Unit 2 Chair, work at San Diego State. I want to bring attention to Executive Order Revised 803, which is the immunization requirements that's going to be coming into effect shortly. Increasing of requirements for immunizations for students. And the campuses are working together already to get this implemented and started. What I'd want to bring attention to is there is a outside source who is willing to take this work on, and I call it contracting out. His name is Hallett Ogburn. He's the president of MedProctor LLC. And my understanding is that there are some campuses already who are going to be using this outside contractor to use the immunization requirements for our students. That is bargaining unit work. And I understand that there is going to be a Board of Directors meetings for Student Health Services here at the Chancellor's Office in April. I don't know if this gentleman's going to be there, but this is our work. And I urge the campuses like Dominguez Hills and San Francisco and anyone else who's interested in using this gentleman. This company is saying that it's free, that the service is free. They will take the headache away from all of us. The burden, have the immunization records uploaded from the students to do that. I question whether that is really free. When the school and nursing departments went to an online service for the students to upload their records for school and nursing requirements, that service was a fee that was put onto the students. I fear that this is going to be the same thing, that this is going to be a charge to our students to upload their records. This is a new upcoming immunization requirement, which though I applaud and I believe that we need to go there, this service should be provided from our campuses, whether it's the registrar's office, admissions and records departments, or mostly I believe it should be at the student health services centers. These requirements, these records, these students' immunization records should come in-house and not an outside facility. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Our next speaker, and again, if I've mispronounced your name, I apologize, and please correct me, is Ejmin Habakian.
It's okay.
Please
It's
correct me.
Ejmin Hakobian. Thank you.
One more time.
Ejmin Hakobian.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. Hello, my name is Ejmin Hakobian, and I'm here to state my opinion on the my personal opinion on the collective bargaining. Last time that there was a collective bargaining discussion going on, it almost resulted in strikes on campuses, and one of the reasons were that the chancellor's office, and especially Chancellor White, the information that on the budget and the feasibility of increasing pay for faculty and staff was incorrect, and it resulted in an independent study which showed the chancellor's office could actually increase the rates and the salaries for faculty and staff. So saying that, I encourage the Board of Trustees and the union leaders to come up with a fair and fiscally responsible pay increase. And also, I want to remind you, every time these collective bargaining sessions do not go and there's a disagreement, all the stress goes back to the students. And we really need to make sure the faculty who are faculty staff who are serving the students, they're teaching them, and it's the prime goal of the CSU to educate students. They should get a fair pay. In addition to that, Mr. Day and the General Counsel last time clearly stated that they will be trying to stop me from speaking and sharing my opinion on the other committees. I want to clarify this to the board, that under Government Code 11125.7 D, it clearly states that the public can criticize the board. And I want to call two parliamentary procedure violations on Mr. Day last time. While I made comments immediately after my comments, he spoke up without the recognition of the chair of the committee, and the only person who can call on the committee members or the public to speak is the chair of the committee and not the chair of the board. And everyone needs to follow the law. I'm following it to the letter, and I encourage you to follow it too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And our last speaker is Leland Wessel from Student Health Services, SDSU.
Dr. Wessel won't be speaking today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, I want to thank all the members of the public for coming out, and to the staff who spoke so eloquently today about the needs and your ideas about how to make our university system better. I really deeply appreciate it, and I know I can speak for our board that your comments are extremely important. Now it is time for the committee to consider today's consent agenda. Does any committee member wish to remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion?
Motion on consent?
Can I have a second? Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So today we do have two action items for discussion. Item 2 is the action item. It's the adoption of the initial proposals for a succession collective bargaining agreement with Bargaining Unit 2, the English Language Program at Los Angeles. And I believe our colleagues are going to provide summary.
Thank you, Chair Simon. There are two action items on the agenda today. The first is the adoption of initial proposals for Bargaining Unit 13, the English Language Program at CSU Los Angeles. The campus has decided to discontinue the program at the end of the semester due to falling enrollment. We are negotiating the impacts of that decision with the union and whether or not the bargaining unit should be abolished or be retained in name only in the event that the campus may decide to use these classifications in the future. In the meantime, the terms and conditions of the collective bargaining agreement remains in force. CSU is therefore not going to be proposing any substantive amendments to the existing agreement as the parties go through the process of negotiating the impacts of program discontinuation. The second item is the adoption of initial proposals for Bargaining Unit 14 English Language Program, CSU Monterey Bay. The CSU will be proposing that the terms and conditions of the existing agreement simply be extended rather than renegotiated. Chair Simon, that concludes my presentation. I now welcome any questions from the board.
Thank you. And what I did not say, I didn't read the item 2 is for action item is the adoption of the initial proposals for the successor collective bargaining agreement with Bargaining Unit 14. And thank you so much for your presentation. Are there any questions from the committee? Well, seeing none, thank you so much, Vice Chancellor Nazario. Oh, I'm sorry, Trustee Morales.
So what are these English programs?
These are English language programs, mostly for a lot of international students that come in, and basically English is not their primary language, of course, so we give those programs to them to actually indoctrinate into speaking English.
Thank you.
Thank you. So item 2, the adoption of initial proposals for the successor collective bargaining agreement with Bargaining Unit 13, the English Language Program at Los Angeles, is an action item before the Committee on Collective Bargaining. Only committee members may vote on this item at this time. Before we go to the vote, I realize I went pretty quickly in terms of questions or clarification. Is there any questions or clarification on this item? Okay, great. May I have a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, recorded that second. Any discussion on this item at all? Or points of clarification? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? The item is approved. Thank you. Now, moving on to item 3, the adoption of initial proposals for the successor collective bargaining agreement with Bargaining Unit 14, the English Language Program at Monterey Bay, is an action item before the Committee on Collective Bargaining. Only committee members may vote at this time. Before we move to the vote, are there any other questions or clarifications before we move to the vote? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. The item is approved. And after the presentation, thank you. Is there any presentation at all? Anything that you would like to say to Chair Nazario, Vice Chancellor Nazario? No?
No, it's quite simple, these two contracts, though. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your work on both of these items. Chairman Day, that concludes the business of the Committee of Collective Bargaining. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Simon. Chair Eisen, will you please convene the Committee on Campus Planning, Building